ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on two principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America.
In recent weeks, the already complex relationship between the United States and China has faced new challenges. Marked by controversial remarks from U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and escalating trade tensions that have led to significant economic repercussions globally. On April 3, 2025, during an interview on Fox News, Vice President J.D. Vance addressed the U.S.-China trade relationship, stating, "We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture." This comment was intended to highlight concerns about the U.S. trade deficit with China and its implications for American economic interests. The Chinese government responded swiftly and sternly. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian labeled Vance's remarks as ignorant and impolite, expressing surprise and disappointment that such language would be used by a high-ranking U.S. official. This incident further strained diplomatic relations between the two nations, already tense due to ongoing trade disputes. Escalation of trade tariffs. The trade conflict intensified when President Donald Trump announced a significant increase in tariffs on Chinese imports. On April 9, 2025, the U.S. raised tariffs from 104% to 125% on Chinese goods, affecting approximately $600 billion in bilateral trade. This move was part of the administration's broader strategy to address trade imbalances and protect domestic industries. In retaliation, China imposed an 84% tariff on U.S. imports valued at over $143 billion. Additionally, Beijing restricted exports to 12 U.S. companies, added 6 more to its unreliable entities list, and filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization. These measures underscored China's commitment to defending its economic interests amid escalating tensions. Impact on global markets and industries. The escalating tariffs have had immediate and significant effects on global markets. Major stock indices, including the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, experienced sharp declines of over 10% following the announcements. The luxury and fashion industries, heavily reliant on both U.S. and Chinese markets, faced particular challenges. Analysts from Deutsche Bank and HSBC downgraded sales and earnings forecasts for several luxury brands, citing the dampening effect of trade uncertainties on consumer spending. Furthermore, the energy sector felt the impact as China targeted U.S. coal and liquefied natural gas with 15% tariffs, and crude oil with a 10% tariff. These measures threatened to disrupt supply chains and affect global energy prices, public sentiment, and media influence. The trade war's influence extended into public sentiment and media narratives. A controversial AI-generated video emerged on social media platforms depicting American workers in factory settings, seemingly mocking the US's push for domestic manufacturing. The video, set to traditional Chinese music and concluding with the slogan, "Make America Great Again," highlighted the cultural dimensions of the trade conflict and the role of media in shaping public perceptions. Calls for dialogue and resolution amid the escalating tensions. There have been calls for dialogue and negotiation. China's State Council released a white paper advocating for resolution through equal-footed dialogue and consultation. The document emphasized the importance of mutual respect and cooperation in addressing trade disputes. However, as of now, formal negotiations between the U.S. and China have yet to materialize, leaving the global community uncertain about the future trajectory of this economic standoff. The recent developments between the United States and China underscore the fragile nature of international economic relations. Vice President J.D. Vance's remarks and the subsequent escalation of trade tariffs have not only strained diplomatic ties, but have also had profound implications for global markets and industries. As both nations navigate this complex landscape, the international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that promotes stability and mutual prosperity.